Hello, my darlings. This is Alicia again. So again, I'm on my balcony. For me, it's breakfast time. Again, even though it's 3 p.m. in afternoon, I just woke up maybe after, I would say, 12:30 or so, and just was laying in bed and kind of having a slow morning. So every time when I wake up, I don't like rush out of bed. I really spend my time, and initially the start of my day is actually starts with great gratitude to the infinite consciousness for everything, for the new day, for the new I would say that I woke up today, because I understand very many people in the world it was their last night, right? So many people are not awakening every morning. So really awakening in the morning is the greatest blessings that we have when we actually, open our eyes first thing in the morning and we realize that we have another day. We have a beautiful day, especially in this beautiful sunny San Diego. Today, this is my breakfast, and today I had pretty much the same ingredients as last time, except for this time I added some blueberries. So this is my breakfast today, and I don't want to make an impression that I only eat fruit. I don't think I'm there yet to completely basically switch to a fruitarian diet. These few days I was going to the beach, like for 3 days I was going to the beach, and then a couple last days I was kind of feeling tired and I stayed at home, right? I stayed at home, I rested, I would wake up, I would make some food, and I would do something with, let's say, maybe some photos or videos, and then I would maybe, if I feel like taking a nap, I'm going to take a nap. So I always go with the feeling, like feeling my body, feeling how I feel, and with that kind of being in this natural flow of life. And so today I really had a desire to kind of touch on the subject, how I actually came to the vegan lifestyle. And so, but before that, I wanted to mention, so my meals don't just include fruits, right? For the dinner time and for the last couple of days, I was really in the mood of having pasta, but pasta is a organic durum wheat semolina pasta without eggs and without, without dairy in that sense. And so I was making this pasta. Also, I bought some, I would say, vegetarian patties, like black bean burgers. And I'm going to possibly post a picture right here in this video so that you can see, and then some tomatoes, some corn, right? And so my meals don't just consist of the fruit, even though maybe it's our authentic diet. And so I would like to basically describe more about my path to vegan lifestyle, because every one of us is very unique. Every one of us is actually on our own individual unique paths in that sense. I just wanted to share my experience here, how I actually became a vegan, even though I touched on the subject through the Ancient Soul channel. However, there were some discrepancies that I wanted to correct in here. So I will explain everything one step at a time. And today's Sunday, right? So today is outside is a bit more quiet versus the last time. Last time, I believe also my downstairs neighbors, they were basically doing some work at their condo as well. So that's why it was a little bit noisy. But right now it's pretty quiet, very peaceful. I still, you guys hear on the background I would say the what do you call it? The sounds of the red-shouldered eagle. So I researched that sound. I actually pulled up some videos and researched some sounds, and I saw that bird. So I just didn't know the name of the bird. So when I recognized the sound and when I recognized the actual bird, I found out that it was a red-shouldered eagle in that sense. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Since I was a little girl, right, I was born in Russia and was raised in Russia until I was about 22 years old. I was actually raised on the meat based diet, right? So basically, when we are small kids, we don't consciously make that choice either to, let's say, be a meat eater, or either being a vegetarian, or either being a vegan. Basically, the culture, the society, the dinners at the tables, they became a social norm, right? Social norm. And so initially, when we're a baby, right, when we are actually stop consuming mother's breast milk, we're being switched typically to baby food. And today on the market, there are a lot of foods, baby foods, that contain already a flesh of an animal, right? So it's basically fed to us with a small spoon when we are a little baby. So we don't really consciously come to that decision to consume animal flesh. This is being conditioned to us since we were little kids, in that sense, right? So even though I remember my first feeling when we were eating at the dinner table at my grandmother's place, and when I asked where this let's say coming from, right, that meat, that pork or that beef came from, when adults told me, my grandparents or my parents, when they told me that it came from the living pig or a living cow, I was in such shock as a baby. And so there's some videos on social media as well when kids are actually they are in shock when they find out what they are eating, right? So when parents are feeding babies different pieces of meat, right, pieces of flesh, basically through kind of like chicken nuggets or any type of piece of meat, right? When kids are asking, Mom, where did the meat come from? When parents are telling kids the truth, kids are being shocked, and you can see that basically shock. I watched multiple social media, I would say reels, when this shock is actually present at a very small age, and some kids are start to cry. Some kids start to cry, and so that's what happened to me. I remember what my reaction was at that point, and so. Fast forward, when I, let's say, moved to United States in 2005, I was still eating the meat-based diet in that sense, or I was making a lot of food with beef and pork, and more so with beef versus pork. I never actually liked the taste of the pork, right? But then naturally, it happened naturally. It didn't happen like consciously. I just didn't like the flavor of the pork, so I started basically eating just beef, chicken, like poultry, right, fish products. I started mostly eating that, but without pork, right? And so slowly but surely, in 2016, when I moved out of my ex-husband's property, our home, I basically started renting a small room in a home with a Filipino family. And so at that point is actually that time being, I would say, single. For once, it's basically I started going that path of my interest, and at that point I don't remember how it started exactly, but I started watching a lot of revealing documentaries, like educational documentaries about the I would say one of those documentaries was called Food.Inc. Food.Inc. I haven't watched this documentary since 2016, so my goal is to actually watch it again to kind of refresh my memory. And then I watched another one which is called Vegucated, right? So, and I so some I would say bells and whistles started going into my head, and I really always liked the animals in that sense. And at that point, I started something within me, like mentally, started to switch off, right, in that sense, towards the meat. And so I refused from the red meat at that point in 2016. So in my the Ancient Soul video, I stated that from 2016 I became a fully vegetarian, which is not completely true, because as time passes by, some facts are actually, I would say, faded or erased from our memory. As I was reviewing my older Instagram pictures, kind of having this natural curiosity, what time did I actually switch to completely vegetarian lifestyle? So in 2016, I made a conscious decision to not eat the red meat, right, in that sense. And so I became at first a pescatarian vegetarian. So pescatarian vegetarian, it's the people who don't eat the red meat, but they mostly eat poultry still, right? Actually not poultry, but fish. Yes, so I refused from poultry, I think, as well. So I was eating kind of like sea products. We call them sea produce, but it's really how we should call them is a sea life, right? So it's a life. It's a sentient living beings with a set of emotions and feelings and everything else. But we're going to go into, some people are going to laugh at me right now, stating that the sea life, they don't have any feelings or they don't have any, I would say, emotions, and we're actually going to discover those things because as I stated previously, the emotional structure of our being, it comes from the infinite consciousness, infinite intelligence. So in infinite consciousness, infinite intelligence, it's within every living being. So emotional structure of the infinite consciousness is within each living being. And so that's how, without science, you actually get into the truth concept that all living beings are actually have feelings and emotions and their own personalities and their own gifts and talents, in that sense, in their own way, right? That humanity doesn't really understand at this time. And so in 2016, I became a pescatarian vegetarian. So I still was eating sushi. I liked the sushi, right? And I still was eating the fish, right? And slowly and surely, I would say by the end of 2017, I switched to completely vegetarian lifestyle. And so at that point in 2019, I moved together with another, I would say, roommate. So she is kind of like my aunt to me in that sense, right? And so at that point, I was a vegetarian, fully vegetarian from, I would say, 2017 to end of 2019, I would say, 2020, I'm sorry. So was vegetarian for those couple of years, and then at that point, my roommate came from, I would say, Costco with this rotisserie chicken and with the smoked fish, which I really liked when I was eating the pescatarian vegetarian. Right when I was a pescatarian vegetarian, I really enjoyed the smoked fish, smoked type of smoked fish in that sense. So I was kind of it was a what do you call it? I was tempted to actually start eating the flesh again of the chicken. And so I remember with kind of a drool on my mouth, I started eating chicken again, and I started eating the flesh of living beings again. And fast forward to 2023. Okay, guys, I had to kind of stop the video because of my neighbors anyway. So because I'm sitting on the balcony, I'm kind of like, I don't like to be distracted in that sense because anyway. So in 2023, that's when my spiritual awakening was actually taking place, right? That's when a lot of supernatural things started happening with me. That's when I actually immersed myself into supernatural events in my life in that sense, right? which basically brought me into this spirituality path in that sense, right? At that point, I thought that was kind of I would say the clairvoyance opened up, right? The clairsentience opened up, the lucid dreams there actually escalated substantially, and I talk about this. My whole path is actually described within the Ancient Soul channel. But at that point in 2023, so the spiritual awakening started on the beginning of 2023, but I was still eating the flesh of the living beings, but not the red meat in that sense. So I was eating poultry, I was eating sea produce. And so when shift happened, it was happening at the end of 2023 or beginning 2024. That's when my body had a natural aversion towards the poultry and towards the flesh of the animals again. So I stopped. At that time, I just couldn't, there was some resistance within my body where when this energy activated within me, there was an actual natural resistance from me from eating the flesh of the living beings, right? But at that point, I did not consciously realize that that was I would say the part of the path to opening of our heart in that sense, right? So I did not look at this kind of at the flesh of the living beings, even though we are being conditioned since the childhood to separate even the animals, right? So some animals we love, and those animals are, let's say, cats and dogs. We have pets, and some animals we love to eat in that sense through the forms of steaks and sausages and bacon and whatnot, right? So we're being conditioned since we are little kids, and it's socially acceptable for us being conditioned into that separation again, right? When we're separating one animal from another, so one animal deserves all of our love and all of our respect and all of our care in that sense, and another animal deserves to be tortured and violated and being murdered for food. And this is I would say it's a perception. It's a perception based on illusory programming, based on the illusory construct. And so that's why I don't really, I would say, we go and live in our unconscious ways without actually realizing a lot of things. And so we are actually living within the illusory constructs until we make that choice, or until we start going on the path of self-discovery. That's when actually our those conditions and programming and everything else starts falling apart. And so in 2023, at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, I don't remember exactly. I think it was more like at the end of 2023, I stopped eating animal flesh altogether. So I became a vegetarian at that point, right? And so when I became a vegetarian, I was vegetarian for another year or so, right? It was 2024, 2025, and at the end of July last year, that's when my very, I would say, deep, strong transformation actually started, when I had those natural aversions to any of the foods. I could not get up out of bed. And through that transformation, it completely, this infinite consciousness, this infinite intelligence, this divine energy that has been activated, it's actually averted me from all of the animal products. I liked sour cream, I liked cheese, I liked I liked all this stuff, right? However, at that point I became a vegan, and so it's going to be my anniversary, I would say, being a vegan. It would be I would consider it at the end of July, beginning of August. That's when I actually switched completely, right, to the vegan lifestyle. So my anniversary, I'm going to make it as August 1st. That's when I actually, I think, officially turned away from all of the non-vegan products. So in August last year, right, the end of July, beginning of August, that's when I stopped basically consuming any of the animal products. And the realization of consumption of the living beings that are just like us, feel the pain, feel the go through suffering, and go through so much through so much pain and through so much suffering. It actually started coming to me a little bit later, I would say, especially so very strongly when Infinite Consciousness started bringing me to those documentaries that I was talking about on my channel as well. The documentaries such as The Game Changers, The Christpiracy, right? And another one is the very important documentary that everyone should watch. It's called Dominion, right? And I talk a lot about this documentary within my my Ancient Soul videos. And here I am. So I'm fully vegan. Now I'm going to celebrate my first year anniversary of being a vegan. And I am going to, but again, this I would say, the spiritual path led me to veganism, right? The spiritual path, the opening of the heart, the realization of many things. That's what led me to the veganism. And the more information comes through, that this is actually our natural way of being. This is our natural way of life. And society is being programmed and conditioned, and not to, many of us are being conditioned not to even question our old beliefs, not even question our old traditions, not even question our old ways of life. But it must happen. It must happen in order for us to actually break through the illusory constructs of our life, and in order for us to operate within the truth and love within our heart. Okay, guys, so I'm going to finish this breakfast. I still need to record the Russian speaking video as well, because this vlog I am leading in both languages, in Russian and English. There are going to be, of course, some discrepancies, because nothing is scripted in that sense. I have the main subject, which I'm going to talk about. However, the information may deviate in that sense, right? From English speaking to Russian speaking. I'm going to post the link to all of the I would say personal vlog platforms within the comment section below, or you can actually find this in the bio of my main profile on the on any of the platforms, right, through which you're watching this video. So I'm going to continue, we're going to continue expand on the subject through my personal journey, through the personal vlog. Of course, a lot of information would be channeled about the vegan lifestyle with a lot of evidence, like spiritual evidence, the deep concepts within the spirituality that actually point that veganism is our natural way of life, and humanity eventually will come to the veganism concept and living from the place of love, living from the place of truth when we expand and when we open our heart. Okay, guys, so it's been kind of a longer video than I expected. As usual, as I sit down, I just cannot like talk for 2 minutes. It's been always, I would say, all of us have very unique style of communication. All of us have different personality traits. All of us have different type of gifts and talents and whatnot, right? So I just started bringing this more and more in my personality, that I cannot, I would say, limit my speech to like 2 minutes sometimes, especially when something needs to be said, needs to be shared in that sense, right? And we're going to go more and more. I will share with you the past, right? So what happened in Russia in that sense, that basically I had no idea that I have this type of personality which allows me to speak publicly, because I was conditioned, again, I was programmed not to, I would say, when I was growing up as a kid, my confidence was shot. My confidence was shot either within the family structure, within the school structure, the kindergarten, you name it, right? The social, I would say, surroundings of Russia are a bit rough from that perspective. So I'm going to go into those details about my past, that there is a better understanding where I'm coming from as well. Okay, guys, have a wonderful, blissful day. I'm going to finish my breakfast, going to record the Russian video, and going to go to the beach. But again, this is the goodness. This is the goodness that we have. This is the choice that we make every day to lead the more compassionate, more loving way in this life. Okay, have a good one.